Well, what's up, Gideon's Tactical family, and welcome back to another blade review. And this is going to be a fun one because have you ever sat there and said to yourself, I love the profile of a mid-weight survival knife, but I just want to be able to take that profile and kind of shrink it down and take it with me everywhere. Well, that's what potentially we have right here with the Tops Knives Silent Hero 4. That's right, guys. Years and years ago, I reviewed the iconic Silent Hero designed by Anton, made by Tops, and just brought his design, Anton's design, to life with amazing materials that Tops is known for. Well, the Silent Hero 4 is just a shrunk down version of that, giving you iconic profile, but coming in at just around 4-inch blade and a Kydex sheath. So we got a lot of differences here compared to the original. First off, this is going to be a 4-inch cutting edge versus I believe like 5.5 or 6 for the original. About 4 1/4 overall from the handle scales to the tip. So we'll shrunk this sucker down quite a bit. Then the stock is 0.13, so basically 1/8 of an inch thick. Yes, sliceability because of that. It's so nice to see that versus like 3/16, which is overkill for this size of tool. Survival knife, absolutely. For this style, 1/8 of an inch basically is great, particularly when you bring down the grind a little bit. So this has a saber grind that comes down about 1/4 of the way, maybe even 1/3, and then we have about 2/3 of the grind itself into that really nice edge. And so what that means is that we get a lot of strength that a saber grind gives us, but with the thinness of the stock, it slims it down a lot to just be a slicier tool. So food prep is surprisingly easy with this size tool, as well as breaking down, say, like cardboard boxes and a lot of that like slicing that you would do a lot more, say, with general utility EDC, you know, around your house, around your property type of activities. It's much better than a thicker style of knife would be, but then still robust enough that I can pound on this thing out in the woods and do side splitting, do kindling and breaking down kindling for a fire, and then still being able to make all of your really nice shaping with, you know, feather sticks, making, you know, a spear point, doing notching, doing cordage cutting, to, you know, if you're prepping, say, a bow drill, you know, for a bow drill fire. Those type of activities, this is going to do well because it still has that saber grind versus, say, like a full flat, which would have made it a little bit more fragile because of the thickness of the spine. So it has this great blending of doing a lot of your finer work really well, but still giving you a little more strength because of the lower grind than what you normally see on a lot of blades that are this thin. So guys, I got zero complaints for the concept of this tool with the grind, the edge geometry, as well as the thickness that was chosen on this 1095 steel that we know Tops have been using for years. They've been cooking this thing for like 20 years now. I've actually been in the furnace seeing it done by hand. It's an amazing process, and they know what they're doing with that 1095. And then it's Cerakoted as well. So it's got a blacked out kind of gray Cerakote to help fight against the rust. So in a design with the kind of concept that we've been talking about today, sheath and carry ability and carry options is vital. And Tops has averted kind of away from one of the ways that they usually would offer mounting in a Kydex sheath. Now this is an excellently done Kydex sheath. We have very little rock. I mean, that's quiet, baby. Great retention. This is designed in such a way that the deployment is perfect. Get your finger in there like a firearm almost. You got a thumb ramp, boom, and you are locked in, ready to go. Your finger right up there against the guard, thumb on the jimping, ready to be used in a quick deployment if necessary. Also in a reverse grip. Sorry, Tommy the trail dog's yipping with one of the other dogs, so you may be interrupting this a little bit here, but get that pinky in there, boom, ready to rock and roll. So either way you do it, fantastic, super authoritative snap there. And just really good. The difference is going to come in the fact of not only do we have a lot of lashing points here, so we could do a blade tech lock, different clip options, you know, molly tabs if you want. So you can wear this more in a horizontal fashion, either on the front or on the back of your belt, but also can be fed through a lot of other, not only PALS webbing, so you could carry it, you know, on a molly compatible backpack. chest rig, you know, whatever it would be, but also you'll be able to run a lot of your, I would say day pack size backpacks through there. You can also unscrew them completely, you know, you can rearrange how these are. So there's just so many features, and it doesn't have that rotatable one-sided clip that we kind of know from tops. Now that clip is very functional in a lot of scenarios, but it doesn't allow for the amount of versatility and lashing options that this setup with these two attachments does. So fantastically, not only just formed and fitted, but then on top of that, giving you all of those different lashing option capabilities is excellent. Now, what about the handle? Well, nothing's perfect, so I'm gonna run in all the positives and then point out something that I've just kind of noticed. What we're looking at is micarta, super nice, rounded, contoured, so zero hot spots. The screws are recessed in. We got a lanyard hole if you like that on the back, but it's not like this dedicated obnoxious thing on the back end. So if you're not, you know, I don't think it necessarily is needed in this, you know, compact a size, but if you want to run one, you could totally do that. Red liners to boot to really help make that sucker pop. Good thickness, good length at about, I think it's like 4.7, I would say, ballpark on the overall length of the handle. And when you're locked in here, you got this really good kind of classic from the original design lanyard attachment. So if you did want to kind of do like a pirate like saber guard, you know, with paracord or something, you could do that. You can use it obviously for lashing if you wanted to lash it to, let's say, like a piece of wood for a spear. And it's very deep, so you are super locked in. You're not going to accidentally ride up and hurt yourself, but you're still pretty close to the guard. Excuse me, close to the edge, so you have lots of control and manipulation. Just a couple little hits of jimping that are not overly aggressive, so it's not sharp, and I'm really thankful for that. That's great. So it gives me, I am locked into place for not only really hard stabbing, piercing, but also for the fine control cuts. I can still do that very easily because it doesn't have like a dedicated choil or something like that, which would not be necessary on this size a tool. Now it comes down to the neck thickness here, which what I've found is, and it, again, if I was designing the tool, but I didn't, I would have just kept this thickness all the way through to the guard, still giving me all the guard that I want and not really dropping in to this deep cut in. Because when I'm just using it general, you know, basic cuts, feels great. It doesn't feel too small in the neck or anything like that. But when I was doing really controlled like carving and cutting, what I was finding is I'm putting all of my leverage on the back 3 fingers basically right there. And what my index finger I found was doing was kind of just floating there. I wasn't really putting pressure on it and feeling like I had a full grip to do the cut and the, you know, the rotational cut that I needed to do. It didn't cause an issue. I wasn't like, oh, this is cramping my hand. Oh, this is like hurting me. But I just noticed that if that had just been completely, you know, not cut out, I would have had full grip on all 4 fingers. So I still had all the leverage that I wanted, but this index just kind of like hangs out and just kind of is there and kind of pushing up against the guard and just kind of doing its thing. So it's not that it's bad or causes a problem or so thin that I don't want to use it, but it is got this thin kind of neck cut. So with the finer slow cuts that you would be doing, say to make a spearhead on a piece of wood for a stake or something like that, you will notice a little bit of a gap, at least if you have large size hands like I do. So you'll notice doesn't hurt the functionality, but doesn't really help the functionality either. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and hit pricing, and I'm gonna roll in 2 competitive options here, just give you food for thought. Now, I did actually go out and buy this because it sold out like almost immediately. I am seeing a few in stock when I am making this video. Tops is trying to keep up with demand, but you guys want the Tops knives, man, so when they become available, boom, they're gone. Normal going rate's about just under $145 is what I saw on Blade HQ, I think like 143. And that's pretty much the going rate, so maybe a little bit more, maybe a little bit less, depends on where you pick it up. If this knife is connecting with you, I do encourage you to use those hyperlinks that we offer to you guys below. Appreciate it a whole bunch when you guys do use those, regardless if it's this product or any other, if it connects. You know, I mean, if you're like, this is what I want, appreciate it when you use those hyperlinks. So I will have a bunch of those below for this, as well as the competitive options. In 2022, inflation, everything else for Kydex, American made, $10.95, that's usually about the going rate, 140-ish. You know, there's some blades out there for a little bit cheaper, a little bit more, and I'm gonna show you one cheaper, one more right here. So the cheaper option to consider is, say, the BK18 from K-Bar. It has a very similar size range, you know, very similar feel to it. I think it's a little bit heavier and it is a little bit thicker, but it's still got that kind of like broad blade like the Silent Hero, got a swedge, saber grind. It does come with polymer Gryvery handles that are not my favorite. The micarta is going to cost you like $30 to $40 more, and right now they're going for about $100. So you're looking about the same price again, like $145, $140. It does come with a pretty good ambidextrous sheath. The Tops one is much better, a lot more lashing options. 1095 made in America, but you can see they're very similar neck formation. So if you're familiar with the BK16 or 18 and you like that style, the neck on the Silent Hero 4 is going to be very similar to that, like we were just kind of discussing. Just give you a little food for that. But that's a good option, and it'll at least get you in the door as you know, competitive blade, and just for size perspective as well. And then very different kind of profile, but in that same size range. Here's the Lion Steel M5 in Sleipner steel. It's like a modified D2. Very good edge retention, and will be a little bit more rust resistant than 1095. This is a little bit thicker, a little bit heavier. You can see definitely more of like a woodscraft, whereas the Silent Hero is kind of this mixture of an EDC blade and, you know, like an outdoor folder, an outdoor, you know, survival knife. My model came with a nylon sheath, very blech. They do have some versions that come in leather, full tank construction, just a bigger kind of like heavier knife, not really designed to be carried on your hip all the time, and with lots of different mounting options that are more concealable. This is just more of like an outdoor, you know, compact fixed blade. So guys, there you have it. I hope that this video has been fun and entertaining, showing you what the Silent Hero can and cannot do, and just helped you make a wise choice to possibly throw this blade in your regular rotation or not, and just see what the capabilities are. Just having fun, just watching a blade go through you know, the tasks and see capabilities and limitations. It's just fun. And I appreciate you guys so much. Leave a comment below, ask any questions that you may have, and I'll do my best to answer them. And check out the other video popping up. And again, subscribe if you're not yet a subscriber here at the channel. And until next time, always remember, stay equipped, stay prepared, and I'll see you out there.